Facebook family? I am here. On Mondays, yesterday I wasn't on because I did another Facebook feed in another place. So some of you got a double dip yesterday. Well, no, it wasn't a double dip yesterday. It's just that you got a viewing of me yesterday. But I want to talk about a topic that was brought to me yesterday because I interact with people. I talk with people. I really appreciate our interactions. I am an active listener and engaged in the hearing process when I'm talking with people. And the title of this feed is It's Time for a Healing. I want to talk about an area that is very, very delicate to me. And I was talking to a girlfriend yesterday and she was sharing. I love when people are honest enough to share their life with me. And I was talking with her this morning and I told her, you inspired me for today's feed. So, hey, Raymond, it's time for a healing, Raymond. I was telling them. And so what happened was, she's talking with me and immediately now her experience that she was experiencing, I didn't experience. However, I was feeling her from my gut because although the experiences weren't the same, there was a time when I had to learn that people heal the way that they heal, right? And let's go back a step. I want to go back a step. The first thing is that at some point in my life, I got wounded. In order to have to heal, I had to be wounded at some point. And I want to go back. I want to go back to that prepubescent teen who was like naive to everything that the world and life could do. Right? And I was under the care and supervision, right? And guardianship, right? Of my parents, right? There was people that were governors and stewarders over my life. And I won't say that they did a poor job, right? I will say that they were given the tools that they were given and they used them the way that they saw fit. Does that make sense? Okay, so now that I laid that groundwork for you, and then I'm going to pull a swivel on you. A couple of weeks ago, I was in a feed and I used the word swivel. So I laid the groundwork for you. We're going to go in and then I'm going to pull a swivel on you. So on my way through development in my teen years, scarring took place, right? Right? And I want to talk about the life process in the way of the wound care. Right? And for those of you who are in the healthcare profession, who are nurses and doctors, one of the first things you learn about, especially trauma, is that you learn about wound care, right? And there was some scarring in my prepubescent years. And that scarring came by way of the teasing in elementary school, the parents who said hurtful things in the household about my appearance and how I behaved and my demeanor, right? So as the years went by, that scarring, emotional, mental, and ass whoopings, let's not leave those out. So as I went along through my life, right, there was some other things that happened. By the time I reached, and then see, for you, it may have been different. I'm using my age because this is my experience. But by the time I turned 15, 16 years old, I had wounds, full-blown, infected, pus-filled wounds, emotional, mental, and physical. Does that make sense? So by the time I got to, and let's take a half a step back. What happens with wounds when they're infected? The potential for them to infect other areas of the body exists if they're left untreated. Does that make sense? So I went on like that for years. And let's be real clear. I didn't even know I was wounded because going back to hey Wanda, how are you? I get distracted real easily. And I got to a point where I didn't even realize I was wounded. I didn't even realize there was scar tissue. I didn't even realize the emotional, mental, and physical scars were growing. that other areas were being infected or affected because of the scarring in my previous years. So I went on like that. By the time I turned 20 years old, it was time for those wounds to meet their resolve. And what I mean by that is that now through my behaviors, you started to see the outward manifestation of what was going on the inside. And not only was I only hurting inside me, my behaviors, I started hurting other people because the infection of the wounds was just so great. I'm getting there. Stay with me. So now I'll get to a point where I'm going on, working within the confines of my relationship with my wounds. Hey, Hussein, good morning. I'm working within Hussein, I am a Planet Fitness member, black card. I'm going to be coming up to your spot. But stay with me. So I went on like that, and people was hurting, and I was hurting people. But I got some people that I mess with today who they said most of all I was harming myself, and I didn't even realize it. Stay with me. By the time I reached the ripe age of 25, something happened. I could no longer. My grandmother used to say it. I was exhibiting a behavior long before I started partaking in a certain lifestyle. My grandmother said to me one day, I think I had stole some cake or stole something, and she said it was sneakiness. And she said, you can't go on like this. And by the time I got to the ripe age of 25, right? I couldn't go on like that no more. I turned myself over to a place where I could get proper wound care. It was time for healing. Now, let me tell you how my healing manifested for me. When I got to the place where I made a decision that I needed to heal, and I'm talking about emotional, mental, the whole thing, I had to forcibly turn myself over because I knew that my wounds, I was going to die as a result of my wounds. Yeah. So I went and I turned myself over to someone. And when I did that, man, that was the best decision that I could make for my healing. And this is not for you, for my healing and for the way it manifests in me. Family members had to turn me away. Friends had to leave me. All of my resources, financial and otherwise, had to be exhausted for my healing to take place. Right? That's what happened. Now I'm about to swivel it. I have a son today, right? I don't want to pass that legacy down to him. I'm so grateful for the decision that I made some 20-something years ago. I'm so grateful for that. I'm so glad that through my pain and through my hurting, I saw enough to say I can't go on like this because other people's lives are going to be impacted because of my choices, poor choices and bad decisions. Does that make sense? And although I've cleaned my outward appearance up and there is still some scar tissue. Now I'm about to swivel it. There is still some scar tissue. There's a little girl that still says, you will not treat me any type of way. There are people that I interact with right now today that see the outside and see the same Tisha, the same caretaker, the same people pleaser, the same giver until it hurts, and they think that I'm the same person. A healing has to take place for them. Did I get there? A healing has to take place for them. But we're not talking about them solely. With regards to our relationship and me being in it, because today I am a valuable resource in people's lives. I can say that because I've showed up. People's lives are left better when I have to leave. If our relationship is temporary, let me straighten that up. If our relationship is temporary, when I leave, their lives is better because of it. Because some people's lives is a reason, a season, and very rarely a lifetime. So if it's for a reason or a season, when I have to pass through your life is left better because of it. Yes, I'm on it this morning. So my girlfriend, we were talking, and I thought about my life, and I thought about my experiences, and I thought about how I've been traveling through, and like, you can't go on like this no more. Because there's some instances today where they're not big, gaping, infected, pus-filled wounds, but there are scars. So my wounds are healing in reverse. The more I interact with good people, the more I allow myself edifying experiences, the more I travel down the road of goodness and righteousness and great principles, the better I'm getting. The more I think about the next man, the better I get. So that was my feed this morning. I thought about my girlfriend yesterday. Thank you so much, good girlfriend, for sharing your life with me and sharing your experiences with me and inspiring me. Whew, that felt good. It's time for healing. So go forth today. What are some areas in your life that you ask yourself? Because I always ask people, ask yourself. You know how they say in the little, tell yourself. Ask yourself, what do I need healing in today? Is everything all right? It might be just fine. But does it hurt to take another look? The same thing that got me together some time ago is the same thing that will help these scarred tissue wounds heal today. Because there's always something to work on. You guys have a great day. It's sunny out today, and you enjoy it because you deserve it, especially if you pursue it. Bye-bye.